Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, Kenny and Armando. Let's watch.
This hug is something I've been wanting for a very long time. It's a beautiful feeling to hear from her that she loves me, that I'm her boy. It's what I needed in my life.
Yeah, I'm getting a little teary, and if I wasn't doing this video, I guess I would really let the waterworks out. But yeah, this is great. The parents are in pain, and they're at least the mom is expressing, look, I love you. I know that you're gay, and I love you. Now, sometimes that can mean a lot of different things. It could mean, I love you, I accept you, I've wrestled with it, and I realize that the brainwashing that I've experienced is wrong. And I'm sorry for treating you badly in the past and making you feel like you couldn't be who you are. There's that version. And then there's a version of, I love you, but I know you're still sinning and I'm going to try to change you. So I don't know which one they're in. Maybe we'll find out.
Pues nosotros como padres sepamos el orgullo que tenemos como mexicanos no, es el que nunca nos ha dejado ver más allá de la realidad, que es gay. Entonces, eso fue lo difícil.
All right, good. So it sounds like the dad is saying, well, he said, the pride I have about being a Mexican is, well, let's rewind that. Is he saying that his identity as a Mexican compels him to not like gay people? I don't know. Let's rewind.
Pues nosotros como padres sepamos el orgullo que tenemos como mexicanos no, es el que nunca nos ha dejado ver más allá de la realidad, que es gay. Entonces,
right, that's kind of what I hear him saying. I'm guessing there's a translation issue. Sometimes people will comment below and say that the translators will not translate it very well in the, the subtitles. And so I wonder what he means, but I'm sure there's some cultural element here that I'm not aware of. But what it sounds like is that he's saying, for the two of them, that they were letting certain ideas get in the way of accepting that their son is gay, and that's fine. That's what I'm hearing. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking, but let's watch.
Otra cosa que les quiero decir es, tengo pareja. Él es de Florida y él ya vendió su casa para venirse aquí a estar conmigo. Me voy a mover con él.
So this will be an interesting crucible here, because it's one thing for people to accept that someone is gay intellectually and still love them and not actively be rejecting them. And that's one thing, but it's another thing to accept and go along with and be comfortable with that person having an open gay relationship where they're living with someone and being open about it. So let's see what the parents say.
Kenny and I moving because living here in such a small town and my family here, we'd have no privacy. So I just want to be able to live my life with Kenny and be just open completely.
Interesting. So I was wondering why they were moving to another town. There was one data point that he was saying that Kenny could find a job more easily. But this one makes a lot of sense as well, that they live in a very small town and it would be hard for them to live their lives. And maybe in this other town, there's more openness to gay people. I will say that I've been in parts of Mexico where, at least what I've been told from people in the town, that you can absolutely live and feel relatively safe. Maybe similar to the way it was in the 70s and 80s in pockets of LA, Seattle, and San Francisco, and New York. It's not like all of Mexico is one thing. Of course, we all understand that. So they're going to live in another town so that they can be more open about their relationship.
Me duele que te vayas, pero yo sé que es tu felicidad.
Espero pueda visitarlos con él, que me acepten con él.
Pues yo, de mi parte, sí. No sé tu papá qué.
Great. So the mom is saying, yes, I accept that you will be with him. So huge. And I'm guessing, given their background, I don't know, this is a huge deal, that for the mom to make this adjustment is an indication of a lot of love and a lot of openness.
Solo no pienso venir. This doesn't make it any easier to think about the future because I do plan on making a life with Kenny, and if he's not accepted here, I feel like I'm not accepting myself.
All right, so dad is saying time will tell. I need time. I don't know yet. I think under the circumstances, that's as good of an answer as you're going to get from someone. That will likely mean in the future that dad will adjust. He just needs some time to adjust. It's similar, if not the exact same thing, and I've done episodes on cults and how to deprogram people or extract people from cults or high control relationships. You can be in cults like Scientology or other kinds of things where there's high control, or you can be in a relationship where the person is abusing you and gaslighting you, by the way. And the idea that a lot of people have is you need to, just blast someone and be like, you realize what you believe is wrong. You realize that you've been told something that's wrong. You realize that you're being controlled. All these messages of trying to just wake someone up, right? And to help them, you're trying to help that person. But what has been found by experts, and I've interviewed them on the podcast before, that you can't do that to people. One, they won't go along with it. And two, it can actually be very disruptive to their psychology. So you have to transition them very slowly and have to enter their world. You have to be with them. And for some people who you could consider them to be brainwashed by a particular idea, like maybe what they've been brainwashed by, which is a lot of people have been brainwashed by the way, whether it's religion or just society telling you something, then it takes a little bit of time to adjust for some people. For some people, it's within seconds they adjust, but some people it takes a while to rework their values, rework how they see things, and you can't expect them to go any faster than they're going to go. So maybe that's what we're looking at right now. And I want to be clear, I'm not railing on religion in general. There's a lot of wonderful, healthy things about religion for sure. I'm only talking about elements that are obviously problematic.
Kenny can be pushy. He's been out since he was 19 years old, and he's much older than me. It's not fair for him to expect me to be as out as he is, because I haven't been out that long. I don't know, I just get worried here in Mexico, like that someone might judge us and...
Them judging us, I don't give a to be honest.
Yeah, okay. So they are trying to work this out. For Kenny, he is comfortable and asking for public display of affection in their new town, Ensenada, I believe. And for Armando, he is saying, I haven't been out that long. I'm not comfortable with PDA anyway, and I've probably never done PDA as a gay person, as an out gay person in my life. And so he's still, needing some time. And he's not saying no, never. He's just like, I'm just going to need some time to adjust to that. And the other thing is even after Armando goes through the process of getting comfortable, he might still not like PDA. Some people just don't like it. And it's important to listen to each other around that and to take care of each other and to not be misunderstanding about it. Because I don't think that Armando doesn't love Kenny, but that's the temptation for the Kennys of the world is you're not doing PDA with me because you don't love me, rather than really trying to enter Armando's world.
What are you looking around? You look like you're looking like somebody's gonna jump you.
I'm just making sure who's around, and I don't know. I have to admit that I am worried about our safety as a gay couple.
Right, and that's what I was wondering, that in the United States, you can worry about your safety in a lot of communities, maybe less so in some, but absolutely. I remember hearing about people from outside Seattle would come into Seattle drunk at nighttime and just look for gay people on Capitol Hill on Broadway and jump them. I think sometimes they'd light them on fire. It was awful. They would also do this to people with mental illness on the streets. And it's just, anyway. So I was wondering if Armando is not just like against PDA, but he's literally worried that someone in the community will try to harm them, try to kill them, try to, be violent with them. And the thing that I will sometimes try to help people understand this process is because a lot of oppressed people feel this way. And if you're a privileged person and you're not a target of that, at least from your experience, it might be hard to imagine. You might even think that people are being paranoid. You're like, oh, come on, people aren't that bad, and there's some acceptance in this community. Okay, that might be true. But let's imagine if 1 out of 100 or even 1 out of 1,000 people, so very rare, when they see you, they want to kill you, or they have thoughts of you deserve to die, or they want to hurt you or something. 1 out of 1,000, very rare. 0.1% of individuals you come across is like that. Okay, so very rare. Let's say 80% of people are supportive of you. 15% of people are on the fence. 5% of people are against you, but they wouldn't hurt you. But 0.1% are against you and would hurt you. Very rare individual, but when you come in contact with 5,000 people in a day, then that's 5 people who want harm to come to you and might be motivated to do that. So that is the reality that people live in. This is the reality that a lot of women live in our society, that they will try to say, look, when I'm walking down the street and as a woman and you're a man, don't walk close next to me because I will feel afraid of my life. And then some men will say, well, you're just assuming all men are going to assault you. That's prejudice. That's wrong. Most men won't do that. The vast majority of men, I wouldn't do that. But that lacks the understanding of what it's like to be a woman in some situations. That, yeah, she understands in all likelihood that you're not likely to hurt her, but in that 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 chance, that's enough to worry about and something you should have empathy for as someone. So anyway, Armando even mentioned, I didn't show the clip, that he got an apartment in a gated community for reasons of worries of safety.
I'm afraid that we might get hurt.
You told your family that you are in an openly gay relationship. That's harder than holding the hand for a second.
No, and deep down, it's frustrating. I want to be strong. I want to not care. It's something I want, but it's still hard to overcome.
There's also internalized homophobia. I don't know if Armando suffers from this, but a lot of gay people will have internalized homophobia in that they've internalized the messages of hate and judgment of being gay. And so there's a voice inside of them saying they're disgusting, there's something wrong with them, they're going to hell, it's a choice, all these kinds of things. You're not a real man. Sometimes, especially in the beginning of the recovery process from those internalizations and that abuse from society and family, it takes a while to extract what that means to you. So it could perhaps be Armando might actually have a association with PDA that has been injected into his mind from society, that he might actually think it actually is disgusting for him and Kenny to have PDA. And it's not okay because of subtle and not so subtle brainwashing that he has, been indoctrinated to. And so the prospect of PDA, he bumps up against those voices. You will find people who will be going through the recovery process from that societal abuse, and after 10, 20 years will look back and say, even though I was out, I still hadn't really fully extracted my mind and my soul from the societal victimization I went through in the past. I still had those voices in my head. I don't know if Armando qualifies for that, though.
I think I'm scared. I don't want to be in danger as well.
But you can't live in fear. Like, what's the problem with others seeing that you care about that person?
I know, and I'm sorry.
I'm a little troubled by this dynamic that Kenny is it, I mean, I understand what he's saying. He's like, look, let's move forward. Let's make this happen. And I want to be free. I want to live free. Now, that's great on one hand. On the other hand, he's living in another country, another culture that Armando knows a lot more about. So he should probably listen to Armando. The other thing is he's being kind of pushy right out of the gate instead of taking his time. So that's worrisome. It makes me wonder if they have a dynamic up until this point. They've been together for over 3 years, where, because Kenny has been out since he was 19, and he's in his late 50s or mid 50s or something. So what is that, 30 plus years? And for Armando, he has basically been out for a few years, and maybe not out in all ways. Certainly after the show, he will be out in a lot of ways. In his community or, friends he grew up with or something. But for Kenny, he might, up until this point, have really helped Armando to feel comfortable, like a mentor, if you will, someone to say, I was there and let me help you. And, you are right when you feel hurt by your parents that they don't accept you. You are okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And maybe for Armando and Kenny, they have that dynamic. I don't know. And Kenny is continuing that dynamic in a situation where it might be a little too fast. I don't know.
Kenny looks hurt. I can sense he feels rejected, and that hurts me. It weighs down on me. I don't want him to feel that way.
It's beautiful.
Do you think he'll approve of us?
I think he would approve of us.
Yeah. So in Seattle and around the world, there are Christian and other religious congregations that absolutely accept LGBTQ people for obvious, logical reasons.
Isn't God and Jesus love, right?
I believe that. Just as long as you have that patience with me.
I know.
I am where I am because of you. And that's the truth.
All right. So Armando is affirming, I think, what I was saying earlier, that I have gotten to this place where I could hold your hand here, or I could live with you, or I could, tell my parents and tell my sister and really accelerate this process because of you. I came a long way by myself and maybe with other support people, but over the past few years, I've gotten to this point because of you, because you have helped me, you've supported me, you've listened to me, you've led the way. I appreciate that, and that's great, but I need you to be patient with me.
And I meet them. I guess there'll be none of this.
Probably not. They're barely coming around the idea that I left home to be with a man.
I understand that, but hopefully, they do see that this is going to be forever.
Yeah.
This isn't just like a fling for you.
Yeah, so there are a number of strategies, and I've been with clients as they go through this. And I think Kenny has the strategy of, look, we are who we are, and we're loud and we're proud, and we're just going to live our lives, and we're not going to hide, and we're not going to ask for forgiveness. We're not going to apologize for who we are. And that is just and right, but also it helps people to adjust faster. If you just proceed ahead, people will adjust eventually because their better nature will prevail. And Kenny seems to have that attitude. Let's just go. Don't hold back. When we meet your family, I don't want you to be shy about this. We need to start the ball rolling well, and set this precedent that we're not going to hide ourselves. We are who we are, and there's nothing wrong with us. And for Armando, I think that's very scary for him. I think that's very hard for him, which is also okay. Let's see how they talk about it.
Problems.
Will you kiss me in front of Jesus?
Why not?
And just to put a fine point on the homophobia and heterosexism that still exists in my society and our society, is on Instagram, we posted a picture of Colin, who has been on this podcast many times. And there was a picture of him and his partner kissing. And we posted that on Instagram. And although the majority of people were liking it and supporting it and saying, oh, that's cute, there were a minority of people who had said, "Oh, that's disgusting," and they had, gross emojis, and there were a lot of people who unfollowed us just because I posted a picture of a co-host, Colin, on the, kissing his partner. And that showed, on one hand, I thought that wouldn't happen because I figured my audience wouldn't be like that. Because why would you follow me on Instagram if you weren't like that, I guess? But once it started to happen, I was like, well, of course, that would happen. People come to me from a lot of different angles, if you will. That audience is there. And it was very disappointing. But as it was happening, me and Stacy, the pod wife, were looking at it. We're like, there's a lot. And I actually deleted all of them because I didn't, it's toxic. That is hate speech in my category. And so whenever anyone commented something that was uncool, I blocked them forever. I was just like, And then as people started unfollowing us on Instagram, because, you're programmed to always be trying to raise your followers, which is, I don't know. That's what they say you're supposed to do. And so as people started to unfollow us, and so the very first time we had a downturn in followers that week, the first thought that we have is like, oh no, what do we do? But then the very next thought I had was, good riddance. I mean, it's like, I feel like I should once a month just put something out there to just shed the extra people that aren't really on board with reality or with how to be a good person or with right-headedness. So, I didn't lament losing those followers at all. It was just like, yeah, please go away. There are other Instagram people that you can follow besides me.
Spanish, adios.
That guy just did?
Yeah, he did.
A man walks by and says adios, which is a derogatory homophobic slur in Mexico.
Well, I wish I would have known. I probably would have said something back to him.
And then what? The fight or something goes down?
Yeah. I've never.
All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.